Welcome. Do I need to eat a special diet while I breastfeed? The great news is, in general, your diet has very little meaningful impact on either the quality or the quantity of your milk. Your body is cleverly designed to ensure that everything your baby needs is in your milk, almost regardless of your diet. However, your own health would suffer if you eat a poor quality diet, especially while breastfeeding. For example, in order to provide enough calcium for your baby, your body will draw calcium out of your own bones if necessary. Some women experience around 3 to 5% bone mass loss during lactation, although this is usually recovered shortly after weaning from the breast. Healthy eating habits are therefore recommended to breastfeeding mothers, although it's not essential for producing enough milk or good quality milk. There are a few elements that the breastfeeding mother should consider in her diet. The first is calories. Breastfeeding at its peak can burn around 500 calories a day. That's greater than the calorie burn at the end of pregnancy, which is only around 300 calories. And this explains why you are probably so much hungrier these days. We know that once you dip below around 1,500 calories, your supply may be effective. So while healthy eating is recommended, significant calorie restriction is not. Number 2, fluids. You don't need to drink a fixed extra amount of water, and not all your fluid intake needs to be from just water. You may find you are thirstier than normal and should drink to quench that thirst. A simple way to check if you're drinking enough is keep an eye on your urine. If your urine is clear, you're well hydrated. If it's a dark yellow colour, you need to up that fluid intake. Number 3, caffeine. It does take babies, especially newborns, much longer to metabolize caffeine than it does adults. And so we want to make sure that any caffeine ingested via your milk is in moderation and well spaced apart. In general, 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day should be absolutely fine. If you find your baby is particularly sensitive to caffeine, they might be very hard to settle after you've had a coffee. You may want to hold off a little while and try again in a couple of months. As babies get older, their ability to handle caffeine significantly improves. Number 4, alcohol. This is a little nuanced, so watch episode 13 for the full answer. But generally, 1 drink is okay, just not too much and not too often. Are there any foods you should avoid while you're breastfeeding? In general, and unless we have reason to suspect an allergic baby, you can start by eating everything and anything you enjoy. There are so many myths around maternal diet. Let's look at some of them. Number 1, foods that give you gas. Foods such as beans or cauliflower that give us gas do not make our babies gassy. The very simple reason for this is as follows. The gas that you experience is a sign of your body not digesting parts of these foods. If these parts are not digested, they pass out of your body as waste and do not enter your bloodstream. If they are not in your bloodstream, they are not in your milk. You've done the hard work of digestion on behalf of your baby, and they get the already broken down nutrients through your milk. Number 2, dairy. The dairy protein does pass into your bloodstream and therefore your milk. It is one of the more common allergens found in babies. So if your baby does appear to be having an allergic response to your milk, this is often the first protein that we would suggest eliminating from your diet. However, there is no need to eliminate it as a starting point, as the vast majority of babies will handle these dairy proteins with no issue. It is worth pointing out that standard formula is simply modified cow's milk, so standard formula feeding contains significantly more dairy exposure than breast milk, no matter how many dairy products a mother consumes. Number 3, strong flavours. Many new mothers are told to eat a bland diet while breastfeeding, but actually, we think that some strong flavours like garlic can be sensed by babies through the breast milk, and this positively impacts the acceptability of these flavours when they move on to solid foods. Eat whatever foods you enjoy. No need to hold back on the flavour. Number 4, herbs like sage and mint. While these herbs taken in significant quantities can decrease milk supply, it's unlikely that small amounts like a garnish on a salad would be enough to have a measurable influence. In general, I wouldn't stress about these small volumes, but would avoid drinking copious cups of mint tea. So, are there any foods you should try and eat while you're breastfeeding? Many cultures have foods that are recommended to lactating mothers. If you enjoy these foods, absolutely eat them with abandon. However, there's no need to eat specific foods in order to make enough milk. Don't be influenced into buying expensive supplements or lactation cookies or the such like. Eating sufficient calories, drinking enough fluids, and frequently removing milk from your breasts is the secret to making enough milk. Simple as that. So, to recap, breastfeeding mothers do not need to follow a special diet to produce good quality milk, but a poor quality diet can affect mothers' own health. Healthy eating habits are recommended, and mothers should consume enough calories and fluids. Breastfeeding mothers can drink moderate amounts of caffeine and alcohol. In general, mothers can eat everything they enjoy, and foods that give them gas do not make their babies gassy. Dairy protein can be considered to be eliminated from the diet if the baby appears to have an allergic response, but it's not necessary to eliminate it as a starting point. Strong flavours like garlic can be sensed by babies through breast milk and positively impact the acceptability of these flavours when they move on to solid foods. Breastfeeding mums should not stress about consuming small amounts of herbs like sage and mint, and no specific foods are required to make enough milk. Eating enough calories, drinking enough fluids, and feeding frequently will be the key to producing enough milk.